All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone who's joined us, or if you're just starting to join in. This is our Sycamore Family Session webinar series. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Aria Ammer, and I'm our Orientation and Family Programs Assistant Director. I'm very excited for today's event. I'm very excited that all of you have decided to join us and learn a little bit more about how we support our students during their time here at Indiana State. And we hope that you consider Indiana State for your student when looking for a school. So we're going to get started here in a minute, and I'm going to let our guests here introduce themselves and get started.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming. This Sycamore session today that we're going to talk about is the University Student Success and Advising Center. The picture is the picture of Normal Hall from one side. That's where our offices are located. And then also kind of, if you hear the words USAC, that's just kind of how we describe our center using the acronym. So I'm Christina Cantrell. I am the Director of Academic Advising for Partnerships and Assessment. I've been at Indiana State for around 16 years. In the advising realm, I was the Director of Student Services for the Bailey College of Engineering Technology, and now I'm over here in USAC as the Director of Academic Advising.
Hi, my name is Burr Hartman. I serve as the Assistant Director of Student Success. I am a double alum here of Indiana State, earning my master's and PhD. I've been working here for approximately 6 years.
And then I'm Orion Palmetto. I am an Assistant Director of Advising. I'm primarily over at the College of Health and Human Services. This is my third year advising. That being said, I have done multiple things here. I've also taught Spanish as a grad student, and I also got both my bachelor's and master's degree here.
So what is USAC? So this is a one-stop hub for students to receive help from multiple areas around campus. So this just launched in fall of 25 as a directive from our new president, where we house centralized advising, among other things. So you'll see, again, located in Normal Hall, we have student success programs, project success, which you'll hear a little bit more about later, a consultant for 21st Century Scholars. We have the Financial Aid Office, the Office of the Registrar, Career Center, Residential Life, Accessibility and Advocacy, and the Testing Center. So the Testing Center, the students use that for FAA testing, the math placement test. They house the math placement test along with a non-native language placement test. The Office of the Registrar also assists our veterans. So this kind of is a hub for veterans to come to receive assistance with their different benefits that they receive. And then we have the Accessibility and Advocacy Office. So this is kind of a hub for that over here. They also have their main offices over in the Holman Memorial Student Union on the 8th floor.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit in two parts. First, I want to talk about the philosophy with academic advising here on campus, and then from there we'll talk about our day-to-day. There are four main branches to academic advising here. The first one is going to be developmental. As we all know, college is a very informative and transformative time. Between the ages of 18 to 22, you're going to be attending class and meeting new people and becoming a young adult. When you start here, you are months away from high school where you had to, ask permission to go to your locker and stuff. And then in just 4 years, you're applying to jobs and you're going to be going out into the workforce, or you're going to be going to grad school. Really short amount of time. So part of what we do is we develop you academically as you learn content and hone skills, but also we're working with you to become a young adult. So we have a variety of different tools and resources here on campus, but then also we also do this in our one-to-one interactions. Our second main branch is going to be relational. Relationships are really important. We often find that if we don't have a strong relationship with the student, then it can negatively impact student success. Alternatively, strong relationships generally foster the type of trust and rapport that ends up helping students to get the support that they need. We work with students, we talk to faculty, we talk to staff. It's important that students know that they have someone that they can talk to, where they can ask questions, they can seek guidance. And it doesn't mean that we have all the answers for everything, but if we either have an answer or we know how to get you an answer. And that's the most important part. In that sense, you could kind of think of us as a liaison. The third one is going to be holistic. Students are students, but they're not just students, right? They're a student while they're sitting in a classroom and they're learning and the professor's talking at them, and then they go get on campus and do homework. But then students are also a lot of other things. You know, students are roommates, they're brothers and sisters, they are employees, they wear a lot of different hats. And so we often find that we need to take a holistic approach because you know, sometimes students might be having academic success or academic struggles, but it's usually not just in the classroom. You know, sometimes it's other things that are negatively impacting or positively impacting. And so we try our best to make sure that we're addressing non-academic barriers to success as best as we can. And then our fourth branch would be being proactive. We don't like to wait for problems to arise. It doesn't really help students. We often find that by the time we're waiting, you know, it's too late or there's very little time or anything like that. So we try our best to intervene before, you know, anything can start. We reach out to the students directly. We reach out to faculty and staff. Again, part of that relational aspect is so that way we can try to identify things and I don't want to say nip it in the bud, but just make sure that we are, you know, being as helpful as we can as soon as we can. And now what does that actually look like? In our day-to-day advising, I think that stereotypically you can think of a lot of things that you might be doing with us, and then there's a lot of things that you might not be able to anticipate. We do our academic planning, so our academic advisors here, we look at all 4 years, so we make sure that you're meeting all of your requirements. Now, that being said, you also have access to all this information, and over the course of time, we will also be training you to look at it. So you'll have access to your plan, we'll have access to the plan, and we'll be working together to make sure that we graduate in 4 years, or you know, whichever timeline is best for you. If you want to graduate sooner, talk to us about it. If you want to take classes in the summer, talk to us about it. Whatever you want to do, we'll try our best to make it happen, but we are the arbiters of planning. We also can talk about navigating campus. So if you don't know where something is, feel free to ask us. We might be able to point out directly where it is. We might be able to walk you there. We might help you pull up the map so that way in the future you know how to find it for yourself. But we're definitely a good first stop in case if you're not sure where to go on campus for something. Incoming first-year student appointments, we do make sure that we meet with our first-year students multiple times throughout the semester. We just want to, part of that proactivity is to make sure that we are, you know, forming those relationships and seeing how everything's going and giving you an opportunity to share success or struggles. We also can refer to campus resources. We have a lot of campuses here in the building, which one of my associates will be talking about soon. But we also, you know, have plenty of resources on campus. We also can suggest a variety of different types of resources. So it might be studying, it might be you know, time management, it might be I need help developing my resume. There are a variety of different things that you may or may not need help with. And our goal is we should be able to help you find that help. We establish close connections to the colleges. We work directly with them. We make sure that we are talking to them regularly. We, again, very proactive. Related to the academic planning is that graduation planning. We are focused on your graduation. We want to get you graduated. And so we are making sure that every single semester we're looking at your plan. We're looking at, you know, the classes that you're scheduled to take. We're taking your desires into consideration, and we're making sure that you're still on track. And then finally, student advocacy. A big part of our job is sometimes students just don't even know where to start, right? And so we can try to help. We can help you voice. We can help them, you know, write things. We can help refer them to places. And we can also, you know, speak on their behalf if the student would like us to. Of course, it depends on the specific situation, but our student advocacy goes pretty far-reaching.
Currently, we have 3 student success programs that I'll talk about: peer coaches, peer tutors, and supplemental instructor. All 3 of these are free services that we offer for our students. So peer coaches, some students struggle transitioning from high school to college. Suddenly, mom or dad or the guardians are not there to wake them up, do their laundry, or make sure they even go to class. Peer coaches are students who have experienced these changes and know firsthand how to navigate campus life. They meet with the students either one-on-one, in small groups, and some even sit in on the introductory UC 110 class. They hold sessions to talk about campus life, what resources are available, what tricks and trades they've used to make it through their first year of campus life. Peer tutors. Tutors, just exactly what it sounds like. Students who help other students gain a better understanding of course material. We have tutors equipped in a wide variety of subjects, from hard sciences to history, from language studies to psychology. We offer individual sessions, group sessions, and even online tutoring for our distance students. We prefer scheduled meetings. However, drop-in appointments are available in most subject areas. Finally, we have supplemental instruction. SIs are similar to tutors, yet they differ. They are trained peer facilitators, which are there to encourage the group to process the material rather than just memorize it. SIs are students who have taken these courses and they did very well in the class. SIs have to be recommended by the professor in order to hold the position. They hold weekly sessions to review notes, organize material, and anticipate exam questions. They actually attend each class with the students to make sure that the notes that the other students are taking are accurate and on point. Testing center. As Christina mentioned earlier, we have testing center here on the first floor of Normal Hall. Here we provide testing for math placement test, non-native language test, and our Federal Aviation Administration testing. We also offer testing, proctoring services for other universities. So if you happen to be here on a vacation and you want to take an exam from another university, we will proctor that exam and make sure it gets back to the home school. And we offer other services as well, PhD preliminary exams, just to name a few of those that we do. Right? Project Success. Project Success is a wonderful program. I can't say enough about it. This program includes students with a grade point average of 3.25 or lower. We have an entourage. That's the way it's presented. These are the people here to help you through the transition from high school to college. Who is in this entourage? Our academic advisors. We're your first point of contact. We want to make sure that we know you know us, so that we can help you in any way, shape, or form. Transition instructors, peer mentors, as we mentioned, social ambassadors. These are actually students who are part of Project Success who go to events to welcome other students, to get them more involved and active on campus. They take photos, share those things, and post interesting events on Instagram. We have support specialists. We have programs that are aimed toward belonging. We have graduate assistant who helps in any way, shape, or form that she can, and the director of Project Success. We offer this as a 4-year program. You can do Bridge Week, which I highly recommend for any student who is part of Project Success. As I mentioned earlier, there is a 1-hour credit course, first year college transition. This class, we talk about things that how high school differs from college, and that in high school, typically you really didn't have to study as much. Everything came natural because you learned it a little bit each day. College is a little bit different. Instead of just memorizing for the exam, we're wanting you to think further and make sure that this information is absorbed in a way that can be pulled back at any time. Project Success also offers career readiness outreach programs, belonging programs. There are several programs throughout the semester. For example, we have talk about your registration. So when it's time just to register for next semester's class, we'll have an event that you can come have tacos, which everybody loves tacos, and we'll talk about all the things that you need to look at when you're thinking of the next semester's program, looking at your 4-year plan, talking to your advisor about those classes that may only be offered in the fall or spring to anticipate any issue you may have. There's also study abroad opportunities and scholarships available for Project Success students. Bridge Week. This year, Bridge Week is from August 9th through the 13th. What is Bridge Week? Bridge Week is a time for students to come in the week before classes start to get a feel for the university. We offer programs so you can network with faculty and staff. You learn how to be successful in college. It's really a week to get to know your fellow Project Success students in a way that will be so helpful for you when you do start the next week. You'll know your way around campus. You'll know some of the faculty members. You'll know your advisors. You'll be able to walk across campus and be greeted by friendly faces that you met during Bridge Week. And I think that is so important. Earlier, we mentioned the director of Project Success, Stephanie Piercy. Her email is right there. I encourage you to reach out if you have any questions whatsoever. Stephanie is a wonderful resource, and I can't say enough about the program.
Okay, so this is a lot of the questions that we usually get about academic advising and how transfer coursework comes to Indiana State. So dual credits. A lot of students take dual credits. We really highly encourage students to take dual credit. It's a great way to take some college classes, probably for a little bit cheaper, and then have them sent over to university. So that credit doesn't just come on the high school transcript. So we might be able to see that it was a dual credit course, but we need that transcript from the university in which the student took the course. So it could be Ivy Tech, Vincennes, IU, something like that. Those transcripts, after the grades have been applied, need to be sent to our admissions office so they can be applied to the student's record. It's okay if we don't have all of that prior to orientation, as long as the student is aware of what they've taken. And as long as we have some of that to start with, we can build them a solid schedule. And of course, adjustments can be made. AP exams, again, we take AP credit from the College Board. The College Board, you can request that those scores be sent to the university after the grades are, or the test scores are posted. Normally, those test scores don't come until about July. So we work with the student when they come for orientation. We ask them to make sure they let their advisor know that they've taken this AP exam. And we're just going to err on the side of caution that they're getting the credit for it, right? So, and then if there's something that needed to be changed after the AP scores got here, we would make that change accordingly. But again, we plan as if they're going to get the credit for it. So students aren't taking a class they already have credit for. That's a waste of time, a waste of money, and that is just something that's not something we're interested in doing. Also, Indiana College Core, we accept the Indiana College Core. That's 18 credits from 6 different areas. And then the 12 remaining credits are just from a various, based off of what the student would like. So the 18 credits from the 6 different areas automatically applies to our foundational studies. Our foundational studies is like our general education program. So that will automatically apply. The remaining 12 credits, it really just depends on what the student chooses to take. Sometimes it applies to meet a requirement for the major. Sometimes it's just an elective. Even if your student has dual credit or AP credit or does the Indiana College Core and those courses are coming in as electives, all students need 120 credit hours to graduate, regardless of what their major is. So those elective credits will go towards that 120 credit hours, even if it's not being applied to meet a specific requirement. Associate's degrees, we have some students that come into college with associate's degrees from high school. And again, we take those as well. That makes it tricky when it comes down to advising because the students have their foundational studies mostly completed, but they don't have prerequisites done for their major at most times. So that makes things a little bit tricky. But we work with a student as best as we can to get them in a schedule that will work for them and including the classes that they need to graduate. Just along with the transfer credit or the associate's degree or even the Indiana College Core, those that can help shave time off of your time at Indiana State, depending on what the major is. So if the major is very prerequisite heavy, for example, engineering, you have to take 4 calculus type classes before you progress through other classes, right? It still might take you 3 years to get through the program, or even 4 years for some of those programs as well. So that just kind of might eliminate electives that the student needs, but that also opens up the door for other possibilities like certificates, minors, second majors, and a lot of other different experiences that students can add on to their time here. But I feel like sometimes things like that are advertised to take time off of your the amount of time that you're spending at the university. And like I said, oftentimes for a lot of those majors, that is the case, but it is not the case for every single major. And it just really depends. But that is also something that our academic advisors work with students about. So for example, you brought in all of these transfer credits and you want to see how quickly you can get out of here, which happens a lot. The academic advisor will build that 4-year plan, or that plan for the student to be able to show them what it's going to take for them to graduate, meeting all of the requirements. So that's something that our advisors work closely with the students on, based off of what they want to do and their future goals and aspirations and things like that. I think that's about all for the other information. So we're wrapping this up pretty quickly. Again, I'm Christina Cantrell. We have Burr Orion's here as well. These are our email addresses. We are happy to take any of the questions that you have regarding academic advising, regarding our services, and answer those questions anytime that you would need us to clarify something, especially about transfer credits and different things like that, because that often does get a little bit tricky and also confusing, and being unsure if the credits are here or how all of that works. So we're happy to work with you individually to be able to figure all of that out.
All right. If you want to move to the last, I think it's the last slide on there. We were very efficient on that. So thank you guys for presenting on advising. I have just a couple notes I want to, well, I'll leave the webinar going a couple minutes after, just in case anyone has questions in the chat they'd like to ask us currently. But in the bottom right of this slide, there is the family programs email as well. That's the email that me and my team directly answer. So if you have questions specifically about this webinar or future webinars, or if there's areas of interest that you would like to see present on, I'm more than happy to take requests and try to work with those departments to get another webinar going just for you. If you logged on a little late, don't worry. I have a recording of this that I will be sending out when we have that ready and posted on our YouTube channel. So what's next for you is, if you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to our visit site. That visit site, we have a couple different events that you can sign up for. If you click on that, or if you scan that QR code with your phone camera, it'll open a link. You can click undergraduate events and you can sign up for our preview days. We actually have a very large preview day coming up on February 20th that you are still more than welcome to sign up for. These events, we get a little bit of a closer look at the academic departments of interest that your student has. You get to meet and explore our learning environments. You'll get to engage with some of our current students who will be on a panel to answer questions. We also allow opportunities to meet with financial aid in our Office of Scholarships, just to get a little bit more insight on how you're going to fund your education. And so we've got all kinds of fun things planned. But if you're not able to make it to our preview day on the 20th, on that same website, we also have different preview days that are a little bit more specific. For example, we have an aviation preview day, a criminology preview day. We've got specific days for transfer students. If you've got a student who's transferring from a different institution, We've got all kinds of things. We even have an honors college one. So feel free to sign up for any of those on there. If you have questions, feel free to shoot an email to the family programs email. We also have virtual tours and virtual meetings with admissions counselors on that website. And then we also do daily visits where you can just come to campus in maybe a smaller group, and we'll still get you an academic appointment with your area of interest and kind of show you around campus. And so we hope to see a lot of you there. But that's really all we had for you. So everyone, you're free to leave, but if you have questions and want to hang out, we'll use the chat feature and we'll answer some of those questions that you guys have. So thank you all for coming. I think you're all set.